Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We'll be starting shortly. Thanks for joining. We are waiting for a few more attendees to join in. We will start by 3:05 sharp. While we wait for others to join, let me take this time to set the context of the webinar and also introduce the guest for today. As the title says, this webinar is focused on how to boost customer experience with the SaaS products that are around, and specifically in this webinar, we are looking at how Zendesk and SuperReceptionist, a ticketing system or a help desk system and a cloud telephony system together can help businesses improve their end customer experience by solving communication related problems, right? So let me introduce before I introduce the guest, let me introduce myself. I'm Prashant. I am Director of Product Management at Knowlarity. I also look at partnership and strategic alliances here. I've been working closely in product management function for about 2.5 years with Molarity and interacting with SMBs and enterprises, understanding their issues with communication and trying to build solutions or integrate our solutions into their business workflows, processes to make them efficient. And Suman is a senior solutions consultant at Zendesk India. He interacts with lot of almost all of Zendesk customers, and he just doesn't understand their problems, but also gives solution. Not alone with the whole suite of products that Zendesk has, but also integrating Zendesk with other products like SuperReceptionist. Suman, do you want to share a few words about what you do to the audience? Okay, I've been told that. Okay, thanks for confirming. So looks like Suman is having some connection trouble. Suman, are you back with us? Allow me a minute. Let me check if Suman has some issues.
It looks like there was a blip all of a sudden. I'm back now. You should be able to hear me all right.
Welcome back, Suman. Welcome back, Suman. So I was just, I gave a brief introduction about you. Would you like to say, a couple of words on what you do at Zendesk?
Sure. As Prashant described, I lead solutions at Zendesk India. So what that means is I pretty much give the thought leadership inputs to most of Zendesk customers within India and in the region. Thanks, Prashant.
Hey, thanks, Suman. And we have a special guest among us, Sandeep. He's using their company Fabago or Fab on the Go. Sandeep, correct me if I got it right. They're using our product Zendesk as well as SuperReceptionist, and he'll be talking to us on how these products together are helping their business, and if for consumer-facing businesses like theirs, what are the challenges they face in terms of customer communication, and how omni-channel support system like help desk in combination with cloud telephony system can help them boost their customer experience. Sandeep, do you want to talk a little bit about, introduce about yourself before we get started onto the main agenda?
Thanks, Prashant, for the intro, and good afternoon to everyone. Yes, so I've been using the combination of Molarity and Zendesk for the last few months, and I'm just here to share some work. So in terms of the business and what I do, I take care of the entire business, which would include strategy, marketing, partnership, and but obviously customer service as well. So yeah, I'll talk a bit about the experience, once we reach there in terms of the conversation. So a very good afternoon to everyone again. Cheers.
Thanks, Sandeep. We have good amount of audience. Hopefully, this will be an engaging conversation. Everyone, the question be picking up questions from the chat as we speak. Suman, after you, I know Zendesk has been doing quite a bit of research on omni-channel and the effect of efficient use of omni-channel on customer experience. Would be happy if you can share some light on that.
Sure. Thanks, Prashant. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is the experience that you would have in your personal and your professional lives, where you have to switch out of an app either to make a call or to send an email. It's all about what is your experience while using them versus what is your expectation. Customer's expectation is just like what you've experienced, right? Especially with the millennials or the digital natives who spend most of their time connected to other customer channels, juggling web searches, notifications, conversations, just like what you do day on, day out, right? Now the opportunity and the expectation is that they can interact with the businesses like the portals and the different organizations that you connect with in the same way that you would connect with your friends, family, and colleagues. So let's take a look at what the industry analysts are talking about. That's pretty much in line with what you would expect, right? A seamless experience is now a table stakes. There is no longer exceeding customer expectations, and that's what even you would expect of today, right? Even the recently published Accenture analyst report suggests that customers constantly change the channels they're depending on, and depending on what they're doing. Again, you might think of, hey, probably there is one size that fits all, but the truth is it does not. And here's a snapshot of what the preferences look like across different demographics. So millennials would probably prefer most of the online or non-intrusive mechanisms like social media, mobile applications, and probably an email too, right? Because nobody would want to take a phone call in midst of the day-to-day work. But if you look at probably a little slightly aging group, they probably would prefer talking to somebody on the phone rather than a chat or via a social media message. So here's another snapshot of what we have from a Loudhouse research. Customers want to engage with your business on multiple channels. The green region is what you say as a percentage of customers that expect to change with business or specific channel. And the gray is what percentage of customers they want to change. So what does that tell us? You can see from a chat perspective about 35% or 38%, or an SMS perspective on a 24%. A lot of people would still want to engage over these channels, but whereas what companies or the businesses provide is the ones that are traditional, like the email and the phone and the chat and so on.
So that's interesting because in the previous slide, it showed that 79% people are being engaged through telephony, whereas only 16% wanted to.
Yep. Again, as I said, it totally depends on demographics as well, right? And also the region that we deal with, right? So this is mostly as a customer base of India. So if you look at probably the broader world, I think the metrics could be different. As you would see from here as response as well. So people would, when they want an immediate response, let's say if you're on your way to the airport, they would still, and if you want some change in the itinerary, you would still prefer a phone call because that's a lot more personalized and that's a lot more immediate. But for a use case which doesn't need to be addressed right away, and you're okay to wait for a day or a half, you would prefer an email. Versus the other channels, right? So that's how, depending upon the use case, depending on demographics, things change.
And that's
And
clearly
what
the
also,
other message that you said, one size doesn't fit all.
absolutely yes. And going along, I mean, so it's also important that you engage your customers at the right channels, because a customer who has a good experience interacting with you, or a channel that is preferred for him, will always give you a good score, will always be a brand ambassador for you, will promote you, and so on. Versus somebody who doesn't really appreciate the way you communicate with him. Let's say if you're more social savvy and the company doesn't really have a digital media channels, I mean, not only does he not engage with you, but he'll also become a detractor for you. I mean, imagine all the recent scandals that we've had online, right? Because of all the airline scandals and so on. So it totally depends on how you want to engage and what business have to offer.
Totally.
And again, so all of us realize that your employees or your organization employees are as important as your customers as well, because after all, a company is made up of its own people, right? So it's important for you to provide an unified experience, like what your customers see is also what you should give to your agents as well, because when he's the one who's helping the customer either on email or a phone call, it's important for him to see what the customer sees. That's the best way for you to empathize with the customer. Otherwise, you would go on and say, hey, I have a challenge, whereas your agent is not able to visualize that because he doesn't see what you see. So it's important for you to provide the same end user experience to your internal customers as well. So that calls for a true multi-channel help, right? So you would seamlessly have multiple channels, be it email, chat, phone, self-service, and so on. But at the same time, you have to ensure that across all these channels, the context is not lost. Let's say if somebody is emailed you and is calling you post that because he's not responding in a day, you should not start the conversation by, hey, what can I help you with, right? Rather, if you were to have the conversation or the context about what happened over an email, that'll definitely have a better customer experience for the customer.
So, if I'm not wrong, we're going to see this live, isn't it? Shortly, that how each channel communication is handed over to the person who is handling the communication on the other channel.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll jump right into the demo. So, Prashant, if you want to have a quick round of
yeah, sure. So while you set up for a demo, let me start a poll here. Folks, I would appreciate if you can answer, if you take this short poll. So we want to know if you guys are, if your company, if your business is using any cloud telephony or telephony product within, to boost your business objective, or either in sales, or either in support, or are you guys using conventional hosted telephony, right? We'll keep this poll on for a couple of minutes until Suman sets up the demo. Oh. So looks like few of them are still having issues hearing. Suman, if you are ready, we can get started. Folks, the poll will be open for some more time. Please voice out what telephony system you use within your company. Suman, do you want to get started on the demo? Uh-oh. Looks like Suman dropped off. Oh, no.
Let me show you what the screen looks like if you have a true omni-channel experience.
Great.
So if you look at my screen here, I'm showing the what an agent would look like, agent screen would look like when is actually using Zendesk. So this is in my Zendesk instance. So I'm logged in as Suman, the agent admin. So I have both the agent and the admin privileges. So when I look at here as a dashboard, I can see a snapshot of the tickets assigned to me, and within my group, I also get a snapshot of what the CSAT looks like for my group and for my personal tickets that I handle. And depending upon the access I have, since I'm logged in as admin, I pretty much have access to most of the queues in here. But again, if you have agents belonging to a specific group, he would only see requests that are pertinent to your group. So in this case, let's say I have front office requests, I have IT requests, requests on priority. So all these are views or queues which could be based on your business rules. So you can say, hey, if somebody has put in a message urgent or immediate on his email, route it to the priority request queue. Or if you have a due date as part of your request form, and if the due date happens to be less than 7 days, you can bring the request onto this particular queue. And when it comes to different queues, you can have different SLAs that adhere to this. For example, for a priority request, you might have a turnaround time of an hour, versus for a new request or a normal request, you can have a turnaround time of probably 2 days and so on, right? So it totally depends on how you want to do it, configure it, and so on. So let's quickly send an email out so that we can see how an incoming ticket looks like. I've logged in into a dummy email account here. The username is Anya Kapoor. And let's say I send an email out to my instance here, a Zendesk instance, and say, hey, what happens to my deposit amount? Let's say that's the query that you have. And in the interest of time, let's put the same query as part of the body as well.
Okay.
And when you send the query out, the query gets registered in Zendesk. And then as part of the response, you could always say, hey, apart from acknowledging what the request that we received a request, you could always say, hey, while your agent comes back, here's an article that we found which probably might help your query, right? So I find this article here and I click through it. That then gets routed to, let's say, an online portal of yours, an FAQ portal. While I read through this information, I have a pop-up which says, hey, does this query or an FAQ answer your request? You go ahead and mark it close. The request actually self-resolves itself and lets the agent know that, hey, the question from the customer was so-and-so, and we shared this article with him, and that actually helped resolve his question. So here's the article that we have, or the request that we had from the customer. And when I open this, you would see that here's a question, and here's what the answer bot suggested him, and it actually the customer actually viewed the request and marked the solution resolved. So that's how you could have a simple email, and your self-service portal online could resolve queries. Let's say if it did not, you have a web widget right away. Let's say if you had a follow-up question, let's say what happens to my cancellation? If I have a cancellation, what happens so and so? You can have FAQs answer that. If not, you can always initiate a live chat and say, hey, have a query. And then that can show up as a live chat request for you. And as an agent, when you answer to this query here, you would see not only the profile of the user, but you would also know that what has the user done in the past. For example, in this case, you know that the user just raised a query about the deposit amount, and you also know the previous conversation with the user. So that way you can have a lot more contextual information with the user rather than just answering in a tactical manner. The same applies to phone call as well. So I have Knowlarity SuperReceptionist integrated into my account. So let's see, I've online here, in fact, as this particular number. So let's see what happens when I call into this number. You would provide a true omni-channel experience for your customers. We've seen email, we've seen a chat, we've seen a self-service portal. Let's also see what a phone call incoming could look like. So again, you can have an IVR configured to either go to a request directly, or it could be an open a new request. So here's a call incoming. I'm calling in from my phone here. And as you would see, since the phone number is stored under Anya Kapoor's profile, the system actually identifies who the caller is. And as an agent, when I accept this call here, the system, what it does is, instead of an agent opening a ticket manually, the system can actually open a ticket automatically and starts recording the call.
Right, and it's very interesting that from an agent perspective, he or she has complete control over what needs to be said, and they can be very efficient. They don't have to start the conversation by asking name and asking even. I mean, worst thing is to ask name, but let's say asking how can I help you, right? That statement is always done with good intention, but is the most irritating thing that we want to hear, because we would have sent in this case there was an email, there was a chat, and frankly, if I call a support center, I want to hear that thanks for calling, and your issue is going to be sorted in next 5 minutes, or it is already sorted, or here are the things that we think it's going to help sort your issue, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, as I said, again, is a table stakes in terms of knowing the customer, their profile, and so on. But what's more beautiful is that in this case, you would see the previous request that about the email that the user sent is also captured, and so is the chat. So that way, again, you have total control on what the customer's profile is. And more so, if you also have an integration like this, like what Ola does in real time, when you actually call an Ola help center, this is what actually happens. The Zendesk system can actually talk to their system and pull up the profile details about, let's say, your previous ride that you've taken, so that if there's a disparity, an agent can actually initiate action right from here. So that way, an agent is totally empowered to help you solve the query right on the call.
That's really massive boost on productivity, and in turn, I think with agents having a lot more information and context about the customers, I bet they can deliver better experience as well.
Absolutely. In fact, the whole conversation is recorded right here in the ticket itself. So you can, at any given point of time, go back for your audit training purposes and do a quality check. And not just this, right? Social media is on the rise. So as you would see, apart from email, regular chat, there's also ability for you to connect to other social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and even your Google Play stores and so on. So that's the power of true multi-channel abilities that you get with Zendesk, powered by also Knowlarity for their SuperReceptionist call-in functionality. So that's all I had to show in terms of a true omni-channel experience for you, how you can provide your customers with a 360-degree view of the help that they need.
That was really useful. I would switch over to audience and see if there are any questions for Suman so far. So I have a question from Sunil. He is asking how to connect Knowlarity to Zendesk dashboard, and there is another question, follow-up question: how do you integrate Knowlarity number into Zendesk? Sunil, this is very straightforward. These are click, few step integrations. I'll talk about it in a bit. And we'll be happy to share our support article, which talks about how easy it is and how seamless it is to actually integrate and start using. So before we switch to the next one, I would thanks for taking the poll. So let me start another poll here. Again, here we want to understand, are you guys using any help desk products within your company? If you are, then which is that? Is it Zendesk? Is it another help desk product, or you don't use any product at all? Checking if there are any more questions. So for now, I think Sunil, the only question we had was from Sunil. Feel free to ask questions in the chat room. We'll be picking that up as and when we have these kind of transitions. While we will keep the poll open for a while. So just to summarize what Suman was talking about, the customer journey is not linear like it used to be in the past, and not on one channel like that it used to be in the past. I think helpline is a notional thing, and helpline now means a way to seek help, and it can be within the app, or it can be within your knowledge base through which they can help themselves by reading through the articles, or through chat, or phone, right? Multiple channels, and also a given customer can start experience from one place and end in another place, like how it is shown here. They could start by downloading an app from an app store and get onboarded, but and then start through the chat for conversion, but it might drop, and then engagement happens via SMS or phone. Later, it leads into conversion because of these continuous engagement. And once they have, we use email and social media to get their satisfaction results and get feedback on how they have been using the product. There has been there is another question from Shravan. He's asking, how does Knowlarity help email only support? So Knowlarity offers email only support, but I think with products like Zendesk, it gets integrated much well. So Zendesk has a native support for email based support, which gets integrated with other support systems like chat, SMS, and telephony. However, if you just want email based support, we could send you some details on how we do that. Shravan, we will be happy to engage with you to understand how we can get this link between email and telephony. So moving to the next part, just to summarize on how the SuperReceptionist and Zendesk together can help you boost the experience. I think the first one is really the ease of integration. It really has no coding and it takes less than 5 minutes. All it takes is few clicks. This application is available in Zendesk App Store, and within SuperReceptionist, Zendesk configuration is available within settings. So all you need is a few clicks and you are good to go. And second part is of course the reporting, the telephony details, like who called at what time and on which number. Was it an incoming call? Was it an outgoing call? What was the duration of the call? Was it abandoned? Who hung up the call? Was it agent or was it customer? All these details are sent into the Zendesk native system. Hence, it is accessible via the Zendesk reporting, which is super useful for managers so that they can track how the efficiency is progressing on each of the channels on which they are offering support or engaging with customers, and then control and improve these channels accordingly. And last but not least, this is actually the most important part, as a matter of fact. As we saw all throughout the demo, SuperReceptionist being integrated natively into Zendesk not just empowers the agents, but also gives them all the tools that they need to take action immediately and close the issue as fast as they can, which gives the boost on the customer experience. Right. So with this, I would like to get Sandeep onto the conversation. Before I get Sandeep talking, let me talk a little bit about him. Although I did a brief introduction, there were very few audience back then. So Sandeep currently is heading the business aspect of FabOgo. Sandeep, did I get it right?
Yes, absolutely. It's FabOgo. Fabulous on the go. Yeah.
Yeah. So he started his journey in wealth management business with Northern Trust of Bangalore, and then he moved to investment banking and then product management. And post his MBA at Henley Business School, he started working in Serrano, which was in telecom marketplace, and now he is driving business and generating revenue in FabOgo. So Sandeep, we are very happy to have you in this conversation. And I think to begin with, we would like to hear a little bit about your company and what business are you in, what does it do, and yeah, a little bit about Fabago.
Yes, absolutely, Prashant. Thanks for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. My perspective is going to typically come in from startups and how we can use the combination of Zendesk and Molarity. Right. So I've spent literally a whole lot of my time with startups and how important customer experiences for startups is going to be the core of my conversation here. So just to start off, Fabago as a company, we started off with discovery at the core. So we are an on-demand aggregator for beauty and wellness. So we started off with discovery at the core, and we found that there was a huge market demand for packages as well and appointments in terms of beauty and wellness services as well. So that is how we started, and at some point of time we realized that customer experience is at the core of it because the beauty and wellness market is saturated in terms of the discounted platforms, but customer experience and quality is something which has not been really tackled in the market, and that's the kind of market that we are looking at this point of time. So we are operational in India, Pune and Mumbai, and we are operational in Dubai as well. So being cross territory is very important, and we looked at Knowlarity and Zendesk for that matter because we wanted players who could help us in all the markets as well.
Thanks for talking about Fabago. So can you talk about why Omni-Channel is important for you guys? And in Omni-Channel, what are the channels that are of higher importance than others?
Absolutely, Prashant. So, as an on-demand platform, it's very important to look not at just the demand side, but you have to look at the supply side as well. And the industry that we are catering to, which is the beauty and wellness industry, is very unstructured as it stands. So, the average handling time is pretty important. So, we've been using Zendesk chat since a long time, and we've been using Molarity for calls as well. So, we wanted one way where we could integrate everything so that, the handling time is really increased because the customer takes literally on average 30 days to make a repurchase in the beauty and wellness industry, and in between we retarget the customer through multiple channels. So there is always an impulsive moment of purchase when the customer is coming back, and it is really important for us to provide top-notch customer service where we're completely aware of the customer profile when we are selling something to the customer. So we have two different ways of selling things to the customer. So we have an app marketplace wherein the customer can come in, buy packages, book an appointment, and just redeem the services whenever they want, in partial or in full. So the customer goes through multiple steps in the journey, and it's really difficult for us to tackle different stages of it. So that's why having an omni-channel experience is really important for us. We are pretty strong socially as well because this is a content-based industry as well. So we haven't integrated the social aspect yet as of now, but that's obviously the plan, and that's the reason why we've looked at the combination that we have at this point in time.
Great. I think so. Chat and phone seems to be the key elements, and that is kind of going along with why a lot of people are asking for chatbots to improve the productivity of the agents and also reduce the turnaround time. Is that something that you guys would also be, you guys are also experimenting with?
Yes, absolutely. So turnaround time is the most important criteria for us, right? And I would just add on to that, the other reason why I've chosen for the combination is that scalability is really important for us. And as a startup, you need to pivot in between, and whenever you change your business model, it's very important to have a partner who can really scale that. So this combination really works in terms of that. And I would also vouch for the ease of integration because with the kind of lean tech teams that we have, we should have like a pretty straightforward ease of integration, and integrating Knowlarity with Zendesk was like as easy as because it was just an agent who took like few hours of his time to just integrate that, even though the ultimate integration was just like few minutes. So that's a major thing, and obviously open innovation is a key factor that we look at. Again, in terms of improving customer experience, you need to innovate with the kind of vendors and third-party partners that you align with. And with Knowlarity and Zendesk, we're pretty confident that we could innovate together, and we've done a lot of that with Knowlarity over the past as well.
Thanks. That was very useful and good to hear that it was as easy as we claim it is. One last question for you. I know it has been very recently that you have started using both of our products, but in this short duration, have you seen which matrix do you think these products coming together is going to move, and have you started seeing any impact on your business or any trends that is showing that there will be a major dent in any of the metrics?
Yes, absolutely. I think one thing that has really helped us is the average handling time. So before we had this combination, moving around, flipping around with multiple applications was affecting the average handling time, because we have an internal appointment management system as well. Interestingly, we have integrated Zendesk ticketing with that as well. We're using the APIs that you guys have. So with the whole combination, we've been able to improve the average handling time drastically. And with that, the wrap-up time has improved pretty much, drastically as well. So, overall, in terms of business, we have a metric, which we typically call the experience recall for the customer. And the customer experience recall has improved drastically, over the last few months. And, we're pretty happy with how things are going on that front. But obviously, there's a long way to go as such. Just to start out, we are just learning how things can improve as such.
I think that's a great start. And in a recent survey we did with our integrations with ticketing systems, we found out that there has been, on an average, an improvement of 30% in average handling time in some specific segments. Not average, maximum of 30%, on an average of 18%, and wrap-up time has been reduced by 40%. That's what we have seen across our customers in last 1 year.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sandeep. It was very insightful. Folks, if you have any questions for Sandeep or Suman, please start asking. Nilima, there is a question, but I'm not able to get a sense of what you mean. Could you please elaborate on the chat, please? So we will move to the next segment, and we will pick up the question answer in a bit. So this segment is more on something which, like what Suman showed some time back, when an email was sent telling that how can I handle my payments or something. An automated reply came back telling that, why don't you check out this ticket? This is actually by the power of AI, right? So there is a lot of engineering, a lot of technology that has gone in realizing that it understands people's communicating in their natural way and interprets it into a business in the business context, and replies back very contextually with an actionable. So that has been one side where AI has influence, and on the other side, we have been working quite a lot in the audio side, right? So when we surveyed a lot of CEOs across our customer base, one thing that seemed very alarming to all of these leaders was what exactly are their customers saying to their employees or to the agents. So this we call as dark communication, where the communication that happens between the agents and the customer, although it is recorded, it is logged, it takes a lot of time and effort to go through it and make sense out of it. And they have even put about 15% of the support staff were put in actually reviewing these communications. with this as one of the clear and pertinent problem in the industry, we figured that we had to get this automated speech recognition, which helps you, which actually takes away the need of listening to these call recordings, which are long, laborious, and boring. But sometimes somewhere in between, there will be some action which we may or may not catch, in the process of seeking and or listening to this. So, automated speech recognition, or ASR, will help you scan through these recordings. And what we have implemented is keyword spotting, through which you can literally list down the important keywords that you want to listen to. And whenever they happen, we automatically tag them, tag those calls, and flag those calls that had these conversations. And this is not just in English. And I mean, when I say English, it doesn't have to be US or UK English. It works fantastically well with Indian English, with our accents across India, and also it works really well with Hindi as well. Right, so you could use the words like complaint, refund, renew, maza nahi aaya, acha nahi hai, thanda, all these things can be keyed in, and you get uh, analytics, almost real-time analytics, telling that these are the keywords that we spotted in the conversation last few days or last week, last day. And looks like callback is something which is the most prominent word. So this kind of gives a very high-level view of what communication is happening between the customers and your agent. So this gives me a very coarse but actionable data to which I can act on. So we'll show. I'll be talking about a couple of cases through which there was a significant impact that we could do on businesses. And this system is built for scale. Knowlarity processes about 4 million calls a day. And our system can handle such a scale, and we can expand it for larger scale as well. And this gives actionable insights like this Tag Cloud and few other reports, and I'll be talking about it shortly. So as I said, once you have keyed in entered the keywords that you want to be tagged, you will be able to search through these conversations, just like how we search through emails and chat. As you can see here, someone is typing expired, and it showed all the conversations which had this keyword expired. And not just that, when you want to listen to the recording, when you press on this play button, it also shows that these are the keywords that are spotted in this particular call recording of let's say 45 to 8 minutes here, right? And it also tells at which duration each of these words were spotted, and you can click to that word and go to exact location where that conversation actually happened. For example, at 250th second, someone said expired. So you click on it and it will take you to expired. Now you can listen to what happened before and after, and exactly make out how to correct what corrective actions you need to take for that. And this particular conversation is this particular recording is particularly interesting because they have used expired thrice, right? And in very continuous succession. So this tells that this kind of hints that this conversation might not be as pleasant as we wanted it to be. So this will give immediate attention. This will grab immediate attention. So I can quickly show this aspect of SuperReceptionist. So what I'm doing here is I'm searching for a word hot, and you can see that it searched and it gave a few calls. And when I go to this recording, it actually shows the calls which had keywords hot. And when I select hot,
I was totally disappointed. It was great. He had an amazing experience.
right? And I can also, it also can spot phrases. Like for example, here it says totally disappointed, right? Totally disappointed. So I can go to that and I can seek backward and forward and figure out why was the customer disappointed in this case. Let me bring out a couple of case studies or mini cases that where we had a significant impact. These are also nicely integrated with Zendesk. These keywords go into Zendesk as tags alongside these tickets and the recording. And these tags can be again are used within the Zendesk reporting to bring useful insights there within Zendesk, of course. Talking about just a couple of our customers, one of our customer had a old payment system which was coupon based, where they used to send coupons offline or distribute coupons offline for their channel partners, and the channel partners were making payments on behalf of the customers. But the company was thinking that a lot of payment is happening through cash or card and COD. But they also had a lot of cancellations on a day-to-day basis. When we adopted this keyword spotting, and we figured out that most of the conversations had coupon as the word, and this kind of gave them a very valuable insight that their channel partners are not trained to adopt to the newer payment system, and they were stuck in the older payment system which was coupon based, and that was resulting in a lot of cancellation, and there wasn't enough feedback system between their support and operations team, which led to progressing this cancellation for days together. With this insight, they were able to action on this immediately and set a training program to their channel partners and revoke the coupon payment mode and bring in cash and credit card based payment. And another example of another company in based out of Delhi who were originally a food table reservation company, who had started a new business of food ordering as well. They were thinking that the sales team and the product messaging is very much aligned for food ordering, but when we presented this tag cloud to them, they were really surprised. What this revealed was almost all the calls that are being made to their support line, helpline, is actually asking information about reservation of table rather than ordering food. This kind of gave them insight that their main website is not really resonating with their message of food ordering, whereas the app was retuned for food ordering, right? So this helped them kind of reposition the product on the website to make sure that they say that you don't have to reserve, you don't have to drive down, we will deliver the food to you. Right, these were a couple of impactful business cases where we have seen the experience as well as the business metrics move ahead. Along with that, we have also seen ASR being used in automated script adherence. For example, every support system has thanks for calling Molarity. How may I help you today? Right? There could be salutation, and then towards the end, please visit support.molarity.com. We wish you a pleasant day. Right? So there is definitely a script that every support agent is expected to adhere to, and with this keyword spotting, you could automatically rank each recording against the script, and then flag conversations which you think are not adhering to the script. And here we have seen about 50% reduction in workforce requirement just to keep script adherence in place. And in many places, we have also seen process issues can be identified. And once you identify the process issue, you can optimize them. And most importantly, The last one is you can get feedback from customers without actually talking to them. We always have a plethora of data with us, but that amount of data is hard to crunch, hard to digest. So we end up making very specific calls and ask specific questions. And those specific questions might not give the result that we expect. But listening to these conversations automatically and getting the insights out of this automatically can give the feedback that we always wanted from our customers. So let me look at some of the questions that are being asked. And feel free to ask more questions in the chat, and we will. I'll route these questions to appropriate presenters. So I have a question right now asking, what was the factor which affected the average handling time reduction in Omni-Channel? Anything specific? Suman, do you want to answer this question? Suman, you are on?
Sorry, guys. I think I was muted.
Okay.
I'm not sure that question was pointed to me or Sandeep. I did see the question, but let me take the stab at it. What happens with an omni-channel experience is that an agent doesn't have to switch between multiple screens. He doesn't have to take a call on a landline and then probably create a ticket on the Zendesk system or any ticketing system. And if he asks, let's say for a chat follow-up, doesn't have to log in another system or go into an order management system to check what the records were and so on, right? Like you saw in my demo earlier, you could have all of that captured in a single screen, attending a phone call, replying to a chat, accessing the order management details, everything on the same screen. So that way, an average handling time of a ticket drastically comes down if you have a multi or omni-channel support on your system.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just add on to that. Yeah, I think, absolutely, Suman, I think you nailed it. Like the best example that I can give is the appointment management system that we have. So we have an option to create a ticket from the appointment management system as well. It's just a press of a button, a ticket gets created automatically on Zendesk. And we also know that there is a way where we could have like the concurrent data flows as well being set up for that. So literally, there's only one screen that you have to look at. The agent just looks at one screen, everything happens from there. And that typically helps you to reduce the average handling time together. Even Molarity, we have a click to call function right there where you can make a call out of the system from right there. So that saves a lot of time, and average handling time is reduced drastically. And it's the same with customer profiling as well. If you have like one single database, one single view from which you could get all customer details, then it saves a lot of seconds for your agents and such. So that's how it's done for us.
Yeah, thanks, Suman and Sandeep. I think that's pretty much covers and tells why AHT sees so much improvement, because I have seen people use an Excel sheet and CRM and a ticketing system and run between and Jira as well, and they switch between tools and search manually and cross-reference them. That takes a lot of time. I think this integration clears the clutter and give them everything in one spot. So there is another question about from Sunil. Do we have this feature for basic plan? I guess you're asking about ASR. So if that is the case, yes, ASR is available as an add-on for every plan in SuperReceptionist. So I've also started a poll here and asking if you guys want to try ASR. So for the attendees in webinar, we will be giving whoever is interested, we will be giving a free month trial on ASR, and we'll be happy to see how it can help your business, and based on that, we can decide how to go forward. So please take the poll and let us know if you are interested in taking the trial on ASR. Any other question, folks? I think we are pretty much at the end of our presentation. The webinar, the agenda is done unless you have any further questions for us. Looks like that's it. Let me quickly browse through to see if I had missed any other question before we end it. Okay, so there is another question. If the customer reported multiple issues over call or email, is it possible to create subtask in Zendesk? So each issue that is reported creates a ticket, but each ticket can be tagged again to one of the master ticket. That way, you can clearly form hierarchy. And if you close the master ticket, all the sub tickets get closed. Suman, am I right on this?
You're absolutely right. In fact, Zendesk has two native features. One is a concept of linked ticket, supported natively, so you can always have multiple tickets linked. So in your case, you're referring to multiple subtasks, so you can have them as multiple tickets as linked, or you can always have child tickets. You can have one master ticket and then you can have child tickets, or you can have one incident or one problem ticket and then multiple incident tickets as part of it. And then when you clear out the problem ticket, all the related incident tickets will be auto closed. Absolutely, yes. You have that supported natively within Zendesk.
Great. I guess that's it. We seem to have we don't seem to have any questions. Thanks, Sandeep, again for taking time and talking to our audience and sharing the experience about Zendesk as well as SuperReceptionist. And Suman, thanks again for giving details on showing us exactly how this omni-channel support boosts productivity, and how telephony is when natively integrated with Zendesk kind of boosts the productivity. And thank you.
Good to be part of the discussion. It was a great one. Thank you so much.
And thanks all for joining us. It has been great. Suman, you were saying something?
No, just saying and acknowledging the response and thanking you for the audience for taking time out and attending this session.
We'll be sharing the recording. Please feel free to share with your team members and let us know how it was. Have a great day.